My beloved, I didn't get you this far to allow you to give up at the finish line. I didn't walk with you through every dark tunnel, raise you over every mountain, and carry you through every valley simply to leave you when your legs started to shake. I'm determined to finish what I started in your life. Additionally, you won't appear to be barely alive as you drag yourself across the finish line. When you finish, you will appear to be soaring and rising with strength that is not derived from your muscles, mind, or resolve. A strength that emanates from the core of my identity, or straight from the core of your identity. I haven't been observing you casually or from a distance. I have been observing you in the same manner as a parent observes his injured child as he learns to walk. I was there for every step you took. My hands were reaching out every time you faltered. I could feel the tension in your bones as if it were my own, every time you overexerted yourself because you believed you had no other option. And I've been working on something that will completely alter the way you live your life going ahead. Not a band-aid solution, not a fast fix that treats the surface but ignores the core. Something profound, something enduring, something that fundamentally alters how you pull energy, maintain effort, and deal with the responsibilities life lays on your shoulders on a daily basis. Your strength is being replenished rather than patched, momentarily increased, or given a fleeting boost that will wear off before the week is out. Every cell, every idea, every emotion, every aspect of your being that has been operating on fumes is experiencing a basic whole and full renewal of strength. I am working on you in a way that is far above what you might achieve on your own, with rest, discipline, and optimistic thinking. Your entire ability to live, move, breathe, hope, and move forward confidently is being supernaturally renovated. And it starts in your spirit rather than your body. Because everything else in your life is nourished by the spirit. I want you to know a little bit about how this process operates so that you can cooperate with it instead of unintentionally opposing it. The majority of individuals concentrate on the physical when they consider the need for greater strength. They consider eating better, exercising frequently, getting more sleep, and cutting back on coffee. And each of those items has worth. They are dealing with the branches, while I am dealing with the root, but I am not discounting any of them. You can sprinkle water on a tree's leaves all day long, and it will still die if its root system is injured or cut off from its water supply. It is the roots, not the leaves, that define the tree's health. Additionally, your spirit, not your body, determines the state of your strength, vitality, and life potential. This explains why you've been irritated by the disparity between how much sleep you get and how unrested you stay, as well as how much you sleep and how exhausted you still feel. How many lifestyle adjustments you make and how little of an impact they seem to have over time. While the spirit continued to run dry, the body was being attended to. The roots were still unattached, but the leaves were being sprayed. In order to reconnect you to the source that powers everything else, I am currently working at the root level first. And as that bond deepens, your health will permeate every aspect of your life that is visible. The spiritual renewal will be followed by the bodily vigor. The inner connectivity will lead to mental clarity. Deep repair will be followed by emotional stability. First comes the root, followed by the trunk, branches, and fruit. Always, always in that order. Consider what happens to an eagle once it reaches a particular age. Its feathers get worn out and hefty. Years of use cause its beak to become dull and covered in dust. Its talons lose their grip, their sharpness, and their capacity to retain the eagle's need for survival. One by one, the very instruments that previously made the eagle so spectacular begin to malfunction. The eagle then takes an amazing action that goes against all self-preservation instincts. It withdraws to a remote, elevated location away from the outside world. It is a painful but necessary operation that removes the old feathers one by one. Until the old coating separates, it scrapes the coated beak against the rock. It extracts the tattered talons that are no longer functional. After that, it waits. It is exposed and defenseless in that vulnerable, stripped down, seemingly helpless state, and it awaits the time of regeneration. The casual viewer completely misses this part. They believe it is over when they spot an eagle that has vanished from the sky. They perceive absence as a sign of failure, When they witness the retreat, they refer to it as capitulation. However, the eagle is not going to die. The eagle is undergoing a rebirth, in the secret location, far from the world's gaze and the criticism of those who only appreciate what they can see at the time. In accordance with its own unalterable plan, the miracle of renewal is taking place in its own time. And there is a rejuvenation. It constantly occurs. Stronger and more colorful than their predecessors, new feathers emerge. Beneath the old beak, a new one grows. More accurate, more efficient, and sharper than the original. The raw skin gives rise to new talons that are stronger than before, capable of grasping with more force than the eagle possessed when it was younger. The eagle that goes through this process is not the same one that comes out of it. It is revitalized, reconstructed, and brought back to a state that is genuinely better than its previous state. In your life, it is what I am doing. The time when you feel weak, exposed, and powerless, when you feel like you've lost your edge, when the tools you use to rely on are no longer functional. It wasn't a punishment season. It wasn't proof that I didn't like it. It wasn't an indication that you did something incorrectly. It was a season of preparation. The necessary, inevitable, and non-negotiable process that precedes any genuine rebirth was that season. Old wineskins cannot be filled with new wine. A framework designed for the previous mode of operation cannot be strengthened. Before something new could be constructed in its place, something had to be removed. And I am aware that the process felt like a loss. I am aware that it felt like you were going backward rather than forward as you saw your capacity, energy, and abilities decline. I understand that it seemed like you were disintegrating rather than being reassembled. However, I was in charge of that disassembly process at all times, and I never once let you get out of my grasp. You never once crossed the line into my care. The stripping never went farther than I had planned. You were never more exposed than my defense could keep you safe. A hand that loves you more than you can ever fully understand, measured, watched over, and managed every moment of that trying season. You have learned something from your wariness that you could never have learned from strength. It showed you the limits of your own resources. It demonstrated the exact limits of what you are capable of achieving on your own, utilizing your own resources and energy. And it wasn't a failure to attain that limit. The most significant discovery you could make was to reach that boundary. Because there is limitless potential for what I can accomplish through you on the other side of that line. In order to discover the beginning of what occurs when my limitless resources flow through a willing vessel, you had to reach the end of yourself. In order to comprehend what it means to have access to a well with no bottom, a river with no end, and a source that never declines, you had to run utterly dry. Is regardless of how much you take away from it. Allow me to express this in a way that will truly resonate with your heart. People who have always had plenty of energy tend to take it for granted. They believe it originates from their own biology, willpower, and internal motivation. Since the supply appears to be self-generating, they never ask where it comes from. However, that presumption is false. Each and every human being is using a finite supply. When that reservoir will be emptied is the sole unanswered question. Some people reach their breaking point early in life. Some people hit it later. However, anyone who depends just on their own reserves would finally find nothing but an echo when they reach the bottom of the barrel. You reached the bottom. It was also very frightening. Your empty reserves walls reflected the echo. And the sound it produced was one of loneliness, hopelessness, and the terrible notion that perhaps you were never as powerful as you believed. Even though that sound was unpleasant, it was the most significant sound you have ever heard, since it demonstrated that strength never runs out. You exhaust yourself. I never run out, but I do. My reserves lack a bottom, therefore they have no echo. Since my supply comes from eternity itself, it never runs out. And now that you understand the distinction between my boundless river and your finite reservoir, you will never again confuse the two. All the depletion cost you is worth it for that knowledge alone. I recall every single time you persevered against your inner cries to stop. I recall how, in an attempt to keep your eyes open, you forced them open. I recall how, using only your bare hands and unwavering determination, you persevered through chores that felt like moving mountains. I recall the discussions you had while exerting a lot of effort. And you're being refreshed for more than just yourself. You are being rejuvenated for a legacy, a lineage, and a future that depends on the strength that is currently being built into you in ways you cannot yet perceive. Amen. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it right now, if it resonated with you. Someone in your life is going through a period of weariness and depletion. And this message might be just the inspiration they need to persevere and put their faith in God for newfound strength. To get this blessing of regeneration in your life, type Amen in the comments. To ensure that you never miss a message that God has prepared especially for your season, subscribe to this channel and enable notifications.